Welcome to the thrilling adventure of Catablo. In this chapter, our protagonist Catablo is going to face fearsome enemies, Floralus and Vinehorn. The story begins with Catablo resting in bed because of a fever. After some time, he falls asleep. In his dream, he finds himself looking at the upper floor of Elmera. He thinks that the upper floor of Elmera is too deep and that there is probably something hiding there. He begins to climb Elmera. After climbing to the first floor, he sees a door at the end of the second floor of Elmera. After climbing the second floor, he moves towards the door. He pushes the door with his hand, and it opens easily. He enters through the door into a hole, and a portal opens to another world. He drops down from the portal into a room that looks more like a storeroom. The storeroom contains a ladder, a water tank, a rack with books and shoes, and boxes. He stands up and looks around, trying to figure out where he is. His gaze falls on a window. From the window, he sees a bull running in a circular motion around a giant flower. Inside the flower is a woman. The flower looks like a carnivorous plant, and both it and the woman seem dangerous. He already recognizes that he is in another world and decides to run away. He opens the door slightly and moves slowly, hoping not to be seen, but he is wrong. They have already noticed him, and the bull begins charging towards him. Catablo's eyes pop out in shock, and he jumps at the sudden change in the bull's course. His body is paralyzed with fear as the bull collides with him and the wall. The brick wall begins to crack, and Catablo dies from the heavy impact. Catablo wakes up from his dream, his body drenched in sweat. He thinks it was a scary dream. His fever hasn't gone away yet, so he falls asleep again. After falling asleep, he wakes up in the storeroom of the other world, and he is not happy at all. He looks out of the window again, but it is a terrible mistake because the bull's gaze falls on him. The bull begins to charge towards him, colliding with the door. The door starts to crack. Catablo, terrified, falls to the ground. He doesn't want to die again. He tries to slide the heavy water tank in front of the door, but he fails. In desperation, he throws the shoe rack on the floor and begins to slide it in front of the door. Then he starts opening the boxes, hoping to find something useful inside. He opens the second box underneath and sees that the box is deep. He can't see the bottom. He thinks he can hide in the box. He doesn't have much time to think because the bull can break through the door at any moment. He jumps into the box, but it's a mistake because the hole is too deep. He keeps falling deeper and deeper. He starts crying and shouting, hoping someone will save him. He falls into a tunnel, sliding through it from one side to another. At first, he begins to enjoy the tunnel sliding, but after some time, his head hits the ground hard. He tries to grab the mud and stones on the ground to stop himself, but he fails. After struggling through the tunnel, it finally comes to an end. Catablo tries to grab the sand and stones again to stop himself, but he fails. After passing through the tunnel, he falls from the ceiling and lands inside a flour mill machine. Luckily, the switch is off, and the machine is huge. Maybe the person who works here is also huge. Catablo comes out of the machine safely because the cutter isn't rotating. After sliding on the conveyor belt, he falls to the ground again. It seems like his suffering has come to an end. He exits the flour mill, and then he wakes up from sleep to find his fever has gone away. This is the first part of the story. The next part is coming soon. If you're interested in more adventures of Catablo and want to learn about human and animal anatomy, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.